Welcome to the show. This is
Hello.
Nick Egan and Jason Kramer. How are you guys?
Great.
Yeah?
Hey, can I just say it was a brilliant song by Downtown?
Yes, really good, you guys.
Fantastic.
Really, really good. How did you get your start in the business?
I got my start because I was at art school in 1976, and it was the explosion in London of the punk rock movement.
Now, you did a lot of artwork, and we'll get to the video stuff, but you also did a collaboration with Marc Jacobs.
Yes.
Let's talk about a little of that as far as fashion is concerned.
Wow, yeah. Well, it actually started because I had a collaboration with Vivienne Westwood and Malcolm McLaren, and I was involved with the very first and the early designs at Vivienne, who's now one of the divas of fashion. I worked very closely associated with Malcolm McLaren, who was the manager of the Sex Pistols and then the manager of Bow Wow Wow. I became involved with Malcolm through Bow Wow Wow. I did now it's become one of the most famous covers, the parody of the Manet painting of Lunch on the Grass, and it featured Annabella naked, sitting in a park. And that's become a very notorious cover. And through that, my association with Vivienne, who was his partner at the time, led me into this very same situation of not having any experience whatsoever in fashion. Not only did I model for Vivienne, I drove the collection, I designed the invitation,
Wow.
I art-directed the shows both in Olympia and in Paris, and totally went on a vibe. And I have to give the greatest accolade and credit to probably my greatest mentor was Malcolm McLaren, because he didn't give a shit what qualifications you had. He didn't give a shit if you went to art school, if you got a diploma, if you got a degree. If he liked you and you thought you were the right person, you were in there. And he happened to like me, and he put up with me for a long time, and I learned so much through him. That in turn gave me, Malcolm was my calling card to my success, because people don't understand, in England they do, but less and less so, how important Malcolm McLaren was as a person. And any association with Malcolm was almost like being related to the royal family. I mean, it opened up every single door. So when I moved to New York, I met this 16, 17-year-old student from Parsons called Marc Jacobs, who was a huge fan of Malcolm's. And my girlfriend at the time was a good friend of his, and Marc was just all over me to help him launch his first ever label, which was called Sketchbook, and art direct his early shows in New York. To answer your
Wow.
So, I mean, you worked with PM Dawn at the height of their success. You did a lot of Oasis stuff.
That's right.
Now, this may be a loaded question, but artistically, what was one of your favorite, most creative videos that you could kind of tell us about that you absolutely love? May have not been the most popular, but which one was your...
Well, that's a good question, and I'll answer in a couple of ways on that. My most popular video by default that has nothing to do with me happens to be the Alanis Morissette video I did for You Ought to Know. I hate that video. I hate it. I hate her, actually. but I had a tough relationship with that woman, and I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed making it, and it was great for my career, but it wasn't a pleasant experience. But that was put down as one of the most influential videos of all time for female artists. That particular video on Fuse actually did that not too long ago. My favorite. It's easier for me to tell you the artists that I like working with in the video. I would have to say Oasis, without question. I loved working with them. They were the closest band to a punk band. They didn't, no disrespect to our makeup artist Genevieve here, because she's fantastic, but they didn't want makeup, they didn't want styling, they didn't give a fuck, as they'd say. They didn't give a fuck. They took a lot of drugs. They were just off the charts, and I loved them for that.
I want to thank you so much for this, Nick, and I'd love to have you back here.
Thank you
and
so
we'll get into
much
it.
for coming.